Yeah, I mean, I think like following the game, it's so disappointing to lose. And most seasons end on a loss, so it's really hard and challenging. But I think when you sit back and think about our year and everything that we were able to accomplish with the circumstances that we were faced with.
What you see on the court is only part of the story. A sleek surface that conceals the turbulence beneath professional sports. Under the dazzling skill and highlight plays in the WNBA, there's a growing tension, an unspoken code being forcefully reshaped in real time, one hard-fought game after another. The old standards of conduct are being discarded, replaced by a harsher, more aggressive mentality. And sometimes, a single controversial moment can put a lasting target on a superstar's back, turning every future matchup into a ticking time bomb. The real question is, in a league this intense, who's ready to spark the chaos and watch everything unfold? It all began with a play that sent shockwaves across the league. A fierce collision that didn't just divide fans and analysts, but also created new lines of conflict among players. It paved the way for a dramatic, deeply personal showdown that no one expected yet, in hindsight, felt inevitable. Breanna Stewart, a two-time MVP and one of the most dominant forces the game has ever seen, suddenly found herself at the center of this shift. During a heated matchup against the Phoenix Mercury, Stewart delivered what many later described as a crushing, season-altering screen on Sophie Cunningham. To Stewart's supporters and advocates of old-school physical basketball, it was a completely legal, hard-nosed play, the kind of toughness required to win at the highest level. In their eyes, it embodied championship mentality, but to many others, it crossed a dangerous line. They saw it as an illegal moving screen, a blindside hit that felt less like basketball and more like a calculated act of aggression meant to take out a key opponent. The impact left Cunningham on the floor, clearly hurt and unable to continue. The debate erupted instantly, spreading across social media, sports shows, and locker rooms nationwide. Was this the new standard in the WNBA? Had the line between playing tough and playing dirty finally been blurred beyond recognition? The incident didn't just sideline a key player for the Mercury, it sent a loud and unmistakable warning to the rest of the league. Facing New York Liberty, led by Stewart, now meant preparing for an all-out battle. They were bringing a level of physicality many teams hadn't yet adjusted to. This single moment, one controversial screen replayed endlessly, became the spark for everything that followed, setting a precedent that players across the league were watching closely. But this wasn't an isolated event. It was part of a broader transformation sweeping through the WNBA. The league was experiencing a cultural shift, fueled by a new generation of elite talent and unprecedented media attention. With rising popularity came rising intensity. Every possession carried more weight. Even regular season games began to feel like playoff battles, and with it, a raw, unapologetic physical style of play started to take hold. Players weren't just competing to win anymore, they were fighting for respect, for territory, for their reputation. A strong, almost tribal loyalty began to form within teams, especially among younger rosters. It was no longer acceptable to stand by while your stars, particularly rising icons, attracting millions of fans, were pushed around. A new form of on-court accountability was emerging. If someone targeted your team's leader, the expectation was clear: respond and make it known. This new era meant every hard foul, every aggressive screen, every shove after the whistle was being tracked and remembered. An invisible list of grudges was building across the league, with players waiting for the right moment to even the score. The controversy surrounding the Stewart-Cunningham play only intensified this atmosphere. It confirmed what many players already sensed, that the game was evolving. And if you weren't ready to match that physical edge, you risked falling behind or getting hurt. This environment created the perfect conditions for a new kind of player to rise, the enforcer. Someone whose value isn't just measured in stats, but in their willingness to stand firm, protect their teammates, and do whatever it takes. Enter Lexie Hull, the quiet guardian of the Indiana Fever. On a team suddenly in the spotlight, featuring rising stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, Hull isn't the headline maker. She's the backbone, the glue. The relentless defender who embraces the gritty, thankless work that wins games. Her game is built on hustle, her reputation on quiet toughness. She has carved out a role as someone who never backs down, regardless of the opponent or the pressure. Hull understands the unspoken dynamics of the game, the psychology of intimidation, and respect better than most. While attention followed the stars, she studied film, analyzed opponents, and prepared for battles that don't show up on the stat sheet. Like everyone else, she saw what happened to Cunningham. She heard the debates, watched every replay, and absorbed the lesson. As a key defender on a young Indiana squad now facing heightened aggression from opponents, she knew it was only a matter of time before her team faced the same kind of challenge. She was the shield, the first line of protection for the franchise's future, and she was determined not to let her teammates become the next example in the league's increasingly physical narrative. The stage was set when the Fever were scheduled to face the Liberty. The atmosphere in the arena carried a different kind of tension. This wasn't just another game in a long season, it was a test. A measuring stick for Indiana's resilience. All eyes were on how this rising team would respond to a championship-caliber opponent. But beneath that storyline was a more personal question. How would Indiana handle the sheer physical presence of Breanna Stewart? Would they let her dictate the game with her strength and aggression? Or would someone finally step forward, meet her head-on, and draw a clear, unbreakable boundary? For Lexie Hull, the mission was undeniable. She would be one of the primary defenders assigned to Stewart, a challenge that would push her to her limits, both physically and mentally. The memory of what happened to Cunningham lingered, a sharp reminder of what could happen in even a split second against a player of Stewart's power and intensity. As the game tipped off, the intensity was obvious from the very first moment. Every possession felt like a battle, every inch of the court fiercely contested. And then it happened the moment the entire league had been subconsciously anticipating. In a crucial sequence, Breanna Stewart made her move, isolating her defender and powering toward the basket. Lexie Hull was already set, firmly planted, and ready to meet her. The collision was sharp and forceful, bodies clashing as both fought for position. It was the kind of tough, physical play seen often in high-level WNBA matchups, but this one felt different. When the whistle blew, Hull didn't simply step away. She held her ground, stepped forward, and moved directly into Stewart's space. Her stare was icy and intense, saying more than words ever could. A brief exchange followed, tense, heated, partially unheard, but clearly visible to everyone watching. This wasn't just a reaction to a single foul, it was deliberate, a direct response to what had happened to Sophie Cunningham. Hull wasn't just representing herself, she was speaking for her team and for others across the league. The message was clear. Not tonight. Not against us. We won't be intimidated, and we won't be next. Her anger was controlled but unmistakable. It was the protective fire of someone drawing a line, making it known that the Indiana Fever would not be pushed around or broken. That one intense moment didn't just stop play, it shifted the entire tone of the game. It became a statement. The young Fever might lack experience, but they were far from soft. The effect was immediate. Both benches felt it, and the crowd responded. Stewart, now fully aware she was facing someone unwilling to back down, had to subtly adjust her approach. Meanwhile, Hull's teammates fed off her energy, playing with renewed confidence and toughness. This is how real rivalries take shape in the modern WNBA. Not through hype, but through raw, emotional moments on the court. It's in the hard fouls, the heated exchanges, and the silent challenges between players that the true story unfolds. Hull's confrontation with Stewart went beyond a single game. It was about identity, about earning respect the hard way. It showed the league that Indiana was united, and if one player was targeted, the whole team would respond. Moments like this become the foundation of the league's future, creating the kind of drama that keeps fans invested long after the final buzzer. The clash between Hull and Stewart perfectly captures the WNBA's rapid evolution. The league is now defined by intense, personal rivalries that feel authentic and unfiltered. We're seeing it everywhere, from the growing tension between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, dating back to their college championship showdown, to the widely discussed foul by Chennedy Carter that sparked national debate. This new era is driven by players who embrace who they are, compete with a chip on their shoulder, and show fierce loyalty to their teammates. With more attention on the league than ever before, every game has become a stage to make a statement. The physicality isn't random, it's strategic. It's about disrupting opponents, setting the tone early, and asserting dominance. This is the modern WNBA, elite skill paired with relentless toughness. The days of passive play are gone, replaced by a high-stakes, emotionally charged battle every night. But what does this mean for the future? This intense style has undeniably drawn massive attention. Ratings are climbing, arenas are filling, and the league is gaining long overdue recognition. The rivalries, emotion, and drama are central to that appeal. Still, it raises an important question. Can it go too far? How does the league balance this aggressive edge with player safety and sportsmanship? The line between tough and reckless is thin, and as the league continues to grow, managing that balance will be critical. The explosive moment between Hull and Stewart wasn't just a flash of emotion. It was a sign of what's ahead, a clear glimpse into the heart of the new WNBA, leaving everyone wondering what or who comes next.